The Solforge Fusion starter kit contains all the components for 2 players to get started. It is already out in North America and releases in Europe on the 23rd of February and in the UK on the 10th of March 2023. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Arkham Chronicle Unboxes, where we turn games from their box to their unboxed state. Hopefully you already know that Solforge Fusion is a 2-player competitive card game designed by Justin, Gary and Richard Garfield that has random decks generated by a computer in a similar way to Keyforge. Check out their website if you want to know more. The first thing you will notice is the tiny box. Here is the universal reference letter. Is this because global shipping is now super expensive, or because this was originally a Kickstarter game that didn't need to appear on store shelves? You decide. On the back of the box, starting on the left, is the blurb pushing the unique aspects of the decks you play with and the vast card pool thanks to replacing game designers with robots, as well as the promise of everything you need to play being included in the box. Remember that, as it may be important later. At the top left it says this is a game for 2+ players. Not sure how that is possible as there are no multiplayer rules. It promises a 30-minute playtime and the untrustworthy 14+ age requirement. Below this is a single card in all 3 stages of its upgrade path, because that is a unique selling point of this game, in that your cards get stronger versions as turns go on. Then comes the contents list, and hey look, that's an Asmodee address. Maybe they just forward their mail on. Finally, you have a QR code which has been driving our phone crazy while trying to photograph this. Let's see where it goes. Well done if you guessed it goes to the rule page of the Stoneblade Entertainment website, where you can read how to play this game or watch videos showing you. Now it is time to open this up and see what the components look like. On the top is the first of 2 paper playmats. These measure about 50 centimeters by 56 centimeters, and remember you will need both on the table as they are single player mats. Notice how they aren't quite big enough to hold all the cards on the mat, but they are clearly labelled to help you with your learning experience. Premium mats are available for an additional fee from the Stoneblade website, and they do have enough space. These things are made of a thin gloss paper stock, and so unless you laminate them they will eventually deteriorate with gameplay and repeated folding and unfolding. Next up is a small Ziploc bag with tokens to track changes to the stats of your creature cards. The Kickstarter release came with the option of dice, which are infinitely better for this sort of thing, but here are some rotating squares which are totally just as good, right? You have these green bonus markers with +1 to 4 on one side and +5 to 8 on the other. You will have to remember that is a 6, not a 9. And these red detriment markers with -1 to 4 on one side and -5 to 8 on the other. You will have to remember that is a 6, not a 9. They are about 3 centimeters or just over an inch square and are the approximate thickness of the game cards. For reference, here is the US 1 cent, the Euro 2 cents, a Swedish krona and the British penny. You also get these 2 microdots. Any guesses what they are for? We won't spoil the surprise. Here is a standard game card, so you can see they should fit comfortably in the art box of the cards. The green counters track bonuses to attack value, the red track damage to health, and hey look, there are some brown ones in case something weakens your creature's attack value. Again from -1 to -8. These are totally as good as dice. It's not our fault you missed the Kickstarter. Moving on, we have these 12 double-sided minion cards, which are basically token creatures generated by other cards. It's great how these are bound with paper as opposed to single-use plastic. So much better for the environment. And you can remove and replace these bands, saving on a Ziploc bag. Well done, Stoneblade Entertainment. Next up are the 4 decks which you shuffle together in pairs to create your new play deck, like AG's Smash Up from ages ago. These are all shrink wrapped in single-use plastic, so much worse for the environment. Shame on you, Stoneblade Entertainment. Each is from one of the game's 4 different factions: dinosaurs, spacemen and undead, or whatever. Go watch their video. Colorblind folks, let us know in the comments below if these colors are working for you. Because these are algorithmically generated, they have a unique number and a wacky name. which totally can't backfire. AI is our friend after all. These are 30 card decks with an additional faction leader card, plus an extra card in each one. Let's see what they are. First is a glossary card. This is double-sided and is laid out in a way the text would fit as opposed to true alphabetically. So make sure you check both sides for your definitions. Next up is our 13th minion card, which is identical to some of our existing ones. Finally, there are 2 Forge token cards which are colour on one side and black and white on the other, signifying who is the current player. You could have had a first player token you passed back and forth between the players, but if you are going to organise play events, you don't want other people touching your cards with their icky germ-ridden fingers. Let's take a closer look at the game cards, which come in 3 levels with bronze, silver and gold borders. Colourblind players, let us know in the comments below if these provide enough contrast for you. Each has their level symbol on the mid left of the card if you aren't sure. This creature increases in both attack value and health as it progresses, and the neat little thing is there is a summary of the higher level stats on the preceding cards. You also have the rarity symbol and you can look up their meanings on their website. See how these cards are in portrait orientation? Well, if you flip them over, the backs are in landscape. That just struck us as a little weird. Although we are a little weird ourselves, so nothing wrong with that, right? These are your Forgeborn, which come 1 per deck, and once you have shuffled the 2 decks together, you choose one of these to play, putting the other back in the box. And we assume this tiny token will track your Forgeborn's level and if they have used their current special power or not. On the back is a list of the cards and their rarities in this deck. Creatures are in white, spells are in not white. We have covered up the QR code, but you can register your deck to allow you to track your participation in organised play events and so on. They also have a card database on their website which lists all 1,688 cards. There are filter options to narrow it down, but we couldn't find a visual view. You have to manually click on each card to see what it looks like and what it does. Finally, these cards are labelled Alpha to show this is the first retail printing as opposed to the Kickstarter version or future retail printings. Ah, you spotted that! Remember that promise of everything you need to start playing is included in the box? Everything except the rulebook, which you must access through the QR code on the back or Google searching. When they sent us this review sample, they printed out a copy of the rules for us, which presumably they wouldn't do if they didn't think this was a barrier to start playing. Now, chances are if you are a gamer who would purchase this type of product, then you probably have a smartphone and it shouldn't be an issue. Although, who wants to read rules on a phone screen, right? But let's say you find this at a convention and the Wi-Fi is overloaded, or you don't want to pay the hotel to use their internet, or your phone is out of charge or data. These things happen. As we mentioned, you can access the rules on the website and watch the explanation videos. You can also find a printable version of the rules that you can read full screen online or print out. By having the rules be web-based, this means they can update them regularly and easily. In fact, they have a change log letting you know what rules and cards have been modified right away, as opposed to having to wait for an annual FAQ or something. Great to check this before you head out to an event. Let us know in the comments below if you approve of digital-only rules, or if you think there should have been something physical included. That is pretty much it for this unboxing. Were there any components we missed out? It is virtually impossible to fit sleeved cards back in the box unless you take the insert out, and even then it may be a squeeze depending on how close fitting your brand is.